ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य जनार्दनशलाकं चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्। वन्दे श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतां श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं भजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादा सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमां विष्णुपदाय कृष्णकृष्णाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशकारि नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदाय कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाथने प्रभुभक्तिश्री नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त श्रीराधाकान्त तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी श्रीराधे राधेश्वरी विषमाणोऽस्ते देवी प्रणमामि हरि नीलाचलनिवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्र सुभद्राभ्यां श्रीजगन्नाथाय ते नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हे श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। भगवान् करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयति यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतां परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरम्। So today we will discuss NOI 6. Okay, let us start. So today we are doing NOI 6. दृष्टे स्वभावजनितेर्वपुषश्च दोषे न प्राकृतत्वम् इह भक्तजनस्य पश्येत् गङ्गाम्भसां न खलु बुबुध फेन पङ्के ब्रह्मा द्रवात्वम् अपगच्छति नीरधर्मे. Being situated in his original Krishna conscious position, a pure devotee does not identify with the body. Such a devotee should not be seen from a materialistic point of view. Indeed, one should overlook a devotee's having a body born in a low family, a body with a bad complexion, a deformed body, or a diseased or infirm body. According to ordinary vision, such imperfections may seem prominent in the body of a pure devotee, but despite such seeming defects, the body of a pure devotee cannot be polluted. It is exactly like the waters of the Ganges, which sometimes during the rainy season are full of bubbles, foam, and mud. The Ganges water do not become polluted. Those who are advanced in spiritual understanding will bathe in the Ganges without considering the condition of the water. Shuddha Bhakti, the activity of the soul proper, in other words, engagement in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, is performed in a liberated condition. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Mam Shav Yoga Vicharena Bhakti Yogena Sevati Sagunan Samaditya Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpati. One who engages in full devotional service, who does not fall down in any circumstance, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Avyabhicharini Bhakti means unalloyed devotion. A person engaged in devotional service must be free from material motives. In this Krishna consciousness movement, one's consciousness must be changed. If consciousness is aimed toward material enjoyment, it is material consciousness. And if it is aimed towards serving Krishna, it is Krishna consciousness. A surrendered soul serves Krishna without material considerations. Anyabhilashita shunya, jnana karmadhyanavrita. Unalloyed devotional service, which is transcendental to the activities of the body and the mind, such as jnana, mental speculation, and karma, fruitive work, is called pure bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga is the proper activity of the soul, and when one actually engages in unalloyed, uncontaminated devotional service, he is already liberated. Sagunan samatityayeta. Krishna's devotee is not subjected to material conditions, even though his bodily features may appear materially conditioned. One should therefore not see a pure devotee from a materialistic point of view. Unless one is actually a devotee, he cannot see another devotee perfectly. As explained in the previous verse, there are three types of devotees: Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, and Uttam Adhikari. The Kanishta Adhikari cannot distinguish between a devotee and a non devotee. He is simply concerned with worshipping the deity in the temple. A Madhyam Adhikari, however, can distinguish between the devotee and the non devotee, as well as between the devotee and the Lord, as he treats the Supreme Personality of God, the devotee, and the non devotee in different ways. No one should criticize the bodily defects of a pure devotee. If there are such defects, they should be overlooked. What should be taken into account is the spiritual master's main business, which is devotional service, pure service to the Supreme Lord. As shared in Bhagavad Gita 9:30, Api cheta suduracharo bhajate mam ananyabhak sadhureva samantapya samyak vyavastito hi saha. Even if a devotee sometimes seems to engage in abominable activities, he should be considered a sadhu, a saintly person, because his actual identity is that of one engaged in the loving service of the Lord. In other words, he is not to be considered an ordinary human being. Even though a pure devotee may not be born in a Brahmana or Goswami family, if he is engaged in the service of the Lord, he should not be neglected. In actuality, there cannot be a family of Goswami based on material considerations, caste, or heredity. The Goswami title is actually the monopoly of pure devotees. Thus, we speak of six Goswamis, headed by Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. Rupa and Sanatan Goswami had practically become Mohammedans and had therefore changed their names to Dabir Khas and Sakar Malik. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made them Goswamis. Therefore, the Goswami title is not hereditary. The word Goswami refers to one who can control his senses, who is the master of the senses. A devotee is not controlled by the senses, but is the controller of the senses. Consequently, he should be called a Swami or a Goswami, even though he may not be born in a Goswami family. According to this formula, the Goswamis, who are descendants of Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Advaita Prabhu, are certainly devotees. But devotees coming from other families should not be discriminated against. Indeed, whether the devotees come from a family of previous acharyas or from an ordinary family, they should be treated equally. One should not think, oh, here is an American Goswami and discriminate against him. Nor should one think, here is a Nityananda Vamsha Goswami. There is an undercurrent of protest against our awarding the title Goswami to the American Vaishnavas of the Krishna consciousness movement. Sometimes people flatly tell the American devotees that their sannyas or title of Goswami is not bona fide. However, according to the statements of Rupa Goswami in this verse, an American Goswami or a Goswami in a family of acharyas are non-different. On the other hand, a devotee who has attained the title of Goswami but is not born of a Brahman father or of a Goswami in the family of Nityananda or Advaita Prabhu should not be artificially puffed up by thinking that he has become a Goswami. No, he should always remember that as soon as he becomes materially puffed up, he immediately falls down. Thus, Krishna consciousness movement is a transcendental science, and there is no room for jealousy. This movement is meant for Paramhamsas who are completely free from all jealousy. Paramham Nirmatsaranam Sutta. One should not be jealous whether he is born in the family of Goswamis or has a title of Goswami awarded to him. As soon as anyone becomes envious, he falls from the platform of Paramhamsa. If we consider the bodily defects of a Vaishnava, we should understand that we are committing an offense at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava. An offense at the lotus feet of the Vaishnava is very serious. Indeed, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu described this offense as Hatimata, mad elephant offense. Mad elephant can create a disaster, especially when it enters a nicely trimmed garden. One should therefore be very careful not to commit any offense against a Vaishnava. Every devotee should be ready to take instructions from a superior Vaishnava, and a superior Vaishnava must be ready to help an inferior Vaishnava in all respects. One is superior or inferior according to his spiritual development in Krishna consciousness. One is forbidden to observe the activities of a pure Vaishnava from a material point of view. For the neophyte, especially, considering the pure devotee from the material point of view is very injurious. One should therefore avoid observing a pure devotee externally, but should try to see the internal features and understand how he is engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. In this way, one can avoid seeing the pure devotee from a material point of view, and thus one can gradually become a purified devotee himself. Those who think that Krishna consciousness is limited to a certain section of people, a certain section of devotees, certain tract of land, are generally prone to see the external features of the devotee. Such neophytes, unable to appreciate the exalted service of the advanced devotee, try to bring the Mahabhagavad to their platform. We experience such difficulty in propagating this Krishna consciousness all over the world. Unfortunately, we are surrounded by neophyte God brothers who do not appreciate the extraordinary activities of spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world. They simply try to bring us to their platform and they try to criticize us in every respect. We very much regret their naive activities and poor fund of knowledge. An empowered person who is actually engaged in the confidential service of the Lord should not be treated as an ordinary human being. For it is stated that unless one is empowered by Krishna, one cannot spread the Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. So when one thus criticizes the pure devotee, he commits an offense, Vaishnava Parad, and this is very obstructive and dangerous for those who desire to advance in Krishna consciousness. A person cannot derive any spiritual benefit when he offends the lotus feet of a Vaishnava. Everyone should therefore be very careful not to be jealous of an empowered Vaishnava or a Shuddha Vaishnava. It is also an offense to consider an empowered Vaishnava an object of disciplinary action. It is offensive to try to give him advice or to correct him. One can distinguish a neophyte Vaishnava and advanced Vaishnava by their activity. The advanced Vaishnava is situated always as a spiritual master. The neophyte is always considered his disciple. The spiritual master must not be subjected to the advice of the disciple, nor should a spiritual master be obliged to take instructions from those who are not his disciples. This is the sum and substance of Srila Rupa Goswami's advice in the sixth verse. Being situated in his original Krishna conscious position, a pure devotee does not identify with the body. Such a devotee should not be seen from a materialistic point of view. Indeed, one should overlook the devotees having a body, born in a low family, a body with a bad complexion, a deformed body, or a diseased or infirm body. According to the ordinary vision, such imperfections may seem prominent in the body of a pure devotee. But despite such seeming defects, the body of a pure devotee cannot be polluted. It is exactly like the waters of the Ganges, which sometimes during the rainy season are full of bubbles, foam, and mud. The Ganges waters do not become polluted. Therefore, those who are advanced in spiritual understanding will bathe in the Ganges without considering the condition of the water. So, those who are advanced in spiritual understanding will bathe in the Ganges without considering the condition of water. The disease of the conditioned mind and vision is to always see things externally or superficially. And the problem is, externals are always faulty. Therefore, what to observe and what not to observe, what to take, what should be the basis of discrimination. To explain this, the acharyas are explaining that there are two kinds of characteristics in Vaishnavas. While the superficial characteristics, which are also explained as called as Tatastha Lakshana, the other one is Swarupa Lakshana, which is the core characteristics. So therefore, a devotee, as a devotee, we should be well acquainted with these principles of core characteristics, the Swarupa Lakshana. And we see and evaluate devotees on the basis of this Swarupa Lakshana. Just like the meeting of Srila Pundarik Vidyanidhi and Gadadhar Pandit. Gadadhar Pandit was carried away by externals, the opulence of the dress and the jewelry, but he did not observe or he did not measure or observe the depth of the devotion and dedication and commitment to devotional service. So that was triggered by, I believe, Murari Gupta, who was accompanying him. When he started reciting some verses from Bhagavatam, and as soon as Pundarik Vidyanidhi heard that, he became so ecstatic. He went into such a trance of mood. He was crying and he was calling out for Krishna, Krishna. And he tore his clothes. He was so when Gadadhar Pandit saw this mood, then he understood that within that external shell is pure devotion. So that is Swarupa Lakshana. Now Srila Rupa Goswami Pad himself explains the Swarupa Lakshana of an advanced devotee. Now this is the devotee. So uh, Rupa Goswami Pad explains the symptoms of an Uttamadhikari, an advanced devotee or a pure devotee. Those are the symptoms which we should catch and measure. Avyartha Kalatvam is one quality which is mentioned. And an advanced devotee doesn't want to waste even a moment of time. It's Avyartha Kalatvam. It is very painful for him to waste time. He doesn't waste even a moment without serving Krishna. The other symptom which is explained is Manashunyata. He has no ego. Rather is very humble, Amanitva. Unattached to material things. Another symptom which is being said is Ashabadha. So he is very hopeful of Krishna's mercy. The devotee is always certain that Krishna will, the merciful Krishna will bestow his mercy. Therefore, is always eager to serve. And then he said, Namagane Sadayati. He's very, very happy to chant the holy names of the Lord. Eager to serve, happy to chant the holy names of the Lord. These are the characteristics which have to be seen. The Lakshanas of the pure devotee. Actually, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave a blanket rule, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that yes, one should never judge a Vaishnava. Thus, our judgments are always going to be faulty. Why faulty? Because there is a principle which is explained. It's a, the principle is now unless we know a particular Vaishnava very properly in their own settings, we will not be able to appreciate what kind of sacrifices, what kind of mission, vision, what kind of dedication they have exhibited. So because it is said that it takes one to know one. Unless one is in the shoes of the other person, one can never understand what it means. We can really never understand what it means. Just like, say, for example, old age. Now, how old age creates so much of disturbance in the body and how it is so debilitating that a 20, 30-year-old man cannot realize how one feels in old age. Only takes one to know one. And therefore, when we see Vaishnavas in different settings, and when we start observing and measuring them from our own standpoint, we are making a colossal mistake. Because we don't know anything. Like say, for example, sometimes when we superficially hear that okay, in the Western temples there are no many devotees coming, the temples are very less. We really don't understand the setting of the Western world. It's not that the devotees in the Western world they are doing such gratification sitting there in the temple, Uh, but we don't understand the setting because the setting is very different. It is not Indian setting. Here we can put a book counter. We can just make announcements and no, throughout the no, and for 5 6 hours, no, at least 30 40 kita will go. The Western world, nobody will come. If you don't stop them, they are not going to come on their own. So here, if it is Manushyanam Sahasreshu, there Manushyanam, I mean, no, it's not present only. That Manushya is verily to be seen. No? Who will come himself or herself? No, they won't. So one has to use lot of techniques to just stop a person. So we do not judge externals. Now we were learning from devotees from Atlanta. They had come and we were seeing how they were using different techniques to stop the person just so that they can come to the point of hearing like that. So there was this devotee with saffron brahmachari, and then so some ladies were coming from the other side, and he would say to the ladies, "Hey, you look so cool," the saffron brahmachari, like that, and uh, and she would say, "Oh, thank you," and she would stop, and then he'll say, "Hey, this is for you," in the book, and he'll give the book, and then he'll little bit talk about the book, and then he'll ask for donations, and they would take. So, another lady would say, "Oh, you look like a philosopher," like that, you know. So now you see the point is if we see externally, one may say what is happening, but the problem is they won't stop otherwise. Any other algorithm, we may say, okay, excuse me, can I have a 2 minute, 3 minute, 4 minute, finished, they are not going to stop only. And so the the point is, unless we are in a particular circumstance ourselves, uh, so that's what I saw. The devotee, in Melbourne also was the, distributing books on CBC. He would just uh, uh, so to somebody, he would just talk about their, the nose ring, some, hippie type of candidate, some nose ring they had phone. He says, "Oh, this is so cool," and there's so somebody you start talking about their, earphone, this and that, and uh, and then as far as Gita is concerned, they won't explain much about it. They will just say it's a book of yoga, it gives mind concentration, good vibes, People will take it. So the point is, unless we understand the setting of the place, the mindset of the place, we can never make any judgments. That is the point. That okay, what type of devotees are these, or what type of uh, how and what type of things are going on. It is very difficult. In the So in the Western world, to knock out anybody is very, very difficult. Like we are seeing in MIT now, it's very difficult. Where a single candidate is oof, uh, it's not easy. We Our most successful programs in MIT, what do we do? Posters don't work. And a personal book counters don't work. Nobody even stops. Nothing works. Uh, so we email a new strategy. We email. How many people? Everybody in MIT. 12,000 candidates. We email. How many registrations? 50. How many people turn up? If plus 20, 20, 30, 35. This is our maximum. So out 35 out of 12,000. What is the ratio? In India, we don't have to work hard so much. Now there is now hours and hours of hard work getting the email addresses of these candidates. It's not so easy, of 12,000 candidates. And we try, and if the email goes to officials, then we have charge sheet, like that. It has happened to us. So this time we took out the official professors, this, that, uh, but we forgot to take off the student representatives in the Gymkhana and all those bodies, those type of bodies, like that. And then they bounced back. So things are very this thing topsy turvy.
KGP Pro
So
or MIT?
huh?
In KGP or MIT Pro?
MIT.
Gymkhana there also.
No, that's not called as Gymkhana. It is called a Graduate Students Association or some body. It is called as. But just because I was not, yeah, in Melbourne it is called as GSA. Here it is called as some other name. So, but then Gymkhana type of body. I use the word Gymkhana so that you can understand what body I'm talking about. So The So therefore, the point is that things are very, very difficult. Things are very, very different. So therefore, no, there is no premise for judgment. In measurement or judgment can only take place when the ground is the same. When the ground is not the same, there is a question of judgment. That's what I remember. Brahmacharis, one devotee had come from California, Brahmachari, and he had said, "My dear Prabhus, you are big, big, renowned, youth preachers. I invite you to come to California and not try all your caliber. If you can make people four rounders, I will take the dust of your lotus feet. Forget about 16 rounds." So like that. So the point we have to understand is the settings are very, very different for different devotees. And unless we understand the settings, we just, our making, that is why you see the Lord considers this judgmental nature as a very grave offense. Why? Because we are doing a very colossal mistake. The ground is different. On what basis we are comparing? And we don't know that ground. So we do not know that ground at all. So we really don't understand. So that is why this now, because ISKCON, we may see devotees and sadhus from all over from various countries around the world coming from different cultures. Unless we have understanding of their culture, we cannot understand their mannerisms. That is just not possible. So therefore, we have to be very, very careful. And that is why the Lord has given us very nice principles. Now that's why Prabhupada is quoting Apicheta Suduracharo, Jate Mamananyabha. We just have to see, are they practicing or not? And if they are practicing, Bhajate Mamananyabha, then Sadhureva Samantavya. Then don't see faults and discrepancies. Sadhureva Samantavya Samyak Vyavasito Hisaha. So one who is situated in the activities of devotional service is to be considered saintly. So we have to understand that we have a very strong disease to measure and see everything from our standpoint. And this is what leads to relationship problems all over the world, even materially also. Because people fail to understand and appreciate the settings and the situation of the other person. Therefore, they misjudge. Like many times they say, okay, husband and wife, they are fighting, and then they say, okay, men are from Mars, ladies are from Venus, and all that. What is what this principle is basically what this is what that a person has is adamantly sticking on to saying that, okay, I don't want to explore your situation, I don't want to understand you, and that is what creates islands and all kinds of relationship problems. So sometimes now do we uh, have to now to understand situation of every person, we have to spend a lot of time now, but if we spend a lot of time, we can see how what they are doing, if they are sincerely engaged in Krishna consciousness, what they are doing is proper from their standpoint, from their settings, their situation. But if you don't want to go into all the details, the Lord is giving a blanket formula. Sadhureva Samantavya. Samyak Vyavasthito Hissa. You're seeing that they are continuing the practice of devotional service, then just bow down, and that's good enough. Yes, question. Who is this as Prabhupada mentioning that we should not judge. But unless we judge, how will we, like, for ourselves, we should judge it. If, let's say, some devotee is going astray, or we are following him, we are taking inspiration from him, but some behavior is not what we expect or not in the line. And unless we judge, how we will protect ourselves? Yeah, so there is a difference between judgment and choosing whom to associate. Therefore, the verse of choosing whom to associate came yesterday. NOI 5 talks about it. Whom to associate, Uttamadhikari. You know. But in this verse we are learning. Okay, Uttamadhikari. How do you identify Uttamadhikari? Not externally. By Swarupa Lakshana. So that is. So choosing whom to associate with and judgment are two different things, and one should know the line of difference between the two. Like say for example, we say okay, choose a spiritual master. There are 80 spiritual masters in ISKCON, almost approximately 80, 85, spiritual masters in ISKCON. How many will take initiation from? One. So that means there are 79 of them, or no, suppose if there is 80, so there are 79 of them. We are no, are we rejecting? Is it rejection of 79? No. It is just so just like in a sweet shop, everything is sweet. Not that it can a sweet shop, everything is sweet. So therefore, in Prabhupada has created the sweet shop. The GBCs are maintaining the sweet shop. So all the gurus they are very sweet, like that. But we can only take one sweet. So when we take one sweet, we're not judging or criticizing or demeaning others. No? So this is the point. So we are just that is why you see initiation is the basic level of commitment. No, that okay, my guru, at least their word, their life, I will try to understand very deeply, and I will commit to following their instructions. And the mood which they are giving, the mood means the depth of bhakti they are giving. That I will inculcate in myself and to serve in proper mission. That is where we are connecting. But now, I may say, okay, so one is inspired by one spiritual master, one should be. But then, what about other gurus? Should one be inspired about other gurus or not? Definitely, one should be inspired because our parampara is like that only. Uh, what was Narottam Das Thakur doing with Jiva Goswami? No, that way, Shyamanand Thakur, Narottam Das Thakur. What were they doing with Jiva Goswami? So the whole Vaishnav Sangha is one family. Or we may commit to one spiritual master. The Shyamanand Thakur is a spiritual master, he misunderstood. He thought, okay, what this Deviant Tilak is wearing and all that. He didn't wear, rather, and he did it. So, he didn't know, Yoga Goswami explained. So, like that, of what had happened. So, in this way, we can understand that, so that means that if we are not inspired by other spiritual masters other than our spiritual master, uh, neither that means we are not properly connected to our own spiritual masters, so we are not getting or we are going superficial in judgment. Because if we understand and learn Bhakti Tattva properly, one should be inspired by any example. Look at how Raghunandan Thakur was so ecstatic just hearing about any Vaishnava. And Raghunandan was a small boy that time. He was a small child. Uh, So this little boy Raghunandan in Shrikhanda, he heard that the great Mahabhagavad devotee Abhiram Gopal Thakur has come to Shrikhanda. Abhiram Gopal Thakur, he was an eternal associate of Lord Nityananda, and he was very pure, and he was very enthusiastic, and he had one quality. If you would offer obeisances to the deities and the deities are not installed properly, the deities would explode. And if you would offer obeisances to a devotee and that Vaishnava was not a pure devotee, they would explode. So, like that. So, and here Abhiram Gopal Thakur also heard that, okay, Raghunandan, little boy, very great devotee, the Lord ate his whole prasad he offered, that first time. Raghunandan, the son of Mukunda, Mukunda, the doctor. So, there are three Mukundas in Lord Chaitanya's Leela. So, this is the doctor. So, the Vaidya, the so now, and Abhiram Gopal Thakur is also very eager to meet. Raghunandan Thakur is running towards Abhiram Thakur, and Abhiram Thakur is running towards Raghunandan Thakur. And both of them, they're running towards each other, and they see each other, and they offer obeisances. And Raghunandan survived. So, you see how much eager he had never seen Abhiram Thakur. What was that eagerness and he was blocked in the house. He ran away from the house, Raghunandan Thakur, because he was told you better be inside, locked up, and because it may be very costly, the obeisances, So, but then he ran. He somehow slipped himself. He ran. He offered obeisances. So this is how the eagerness is there. So that is why we see that we don't just go by some externals. See, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu disappeared. Sarodamodar Goswami disappeared. Where did Raghunath Das Goswami go? He immediately went to Rup Sanatan Goswami. Take shelter. He had a very creative idea. Eureka idea. Raghunath Das Goswami that time. No, so he wanted to go to Vrindavan and end his life because Mahaprabhu was not there, Sarodamodar Goswami not there. So he wanted to end his life. So, but then he thought, okay, let me consult with Rup Sanatan Goswami. And when he consulted with them, they gave such a wonderful solution. He said, better sit down, Radhakund, and speak about Lord Chaitanya's pastime. You are the one who is associated with the Lord the most. And then he was speaking. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami made notes there, which he converted later into Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we see that this kind of eagerness. So what is this eagerness and togetherness based on? It is based on Sarupa Lakshana. So when we choose, we're not judging. This statement, even if a devotee sometimes seems to engage in abominable activities, this should be considered a sign. Yeah. So what happens is that therefore devotees, like Mahaprabhu also said, don't look at devotees' past. Sometimes we have too much tendency to look into devotees' past. But what is there in the past to look at? There's nothing to look at. So especially Western devotees and all that. I mean, nowadays India Western doesn't matter. The smartphone brings all the garbage everywhere. So, so we uh, now so we have to see whether they are engaged properly or not at the present moment. But that's what Mahaprabhu said. Mahaprabhu gave mercy to Jagai and Madai. Mahaprabhu said, none of you mind it, should keep yourself hooked to any of their previous activities what they have done. Now they are Vaishnavas. And to Jagai Mother Mahaprabhu said, okay, I'm giving you mercy, I've taken away your sinful reactions. Sin no more now. Okay, done. So he told other devotees, don't look back. And he told Jagai Madhai, don't step back. This is Krishna consciousness. So this is what we have to see. Now, those devotees were faltering in their practice of Krishna consciousness. Now, how to see them? We see them with compassion. Just like a family member has got some infectious disease, how do we see them? Hey, we see them with indignant eyes. No, anybody can get infection, no problem. Can we go and embrace them? No, we'll get the infection also. We can give them an isolated room. And maybe from outside the room, the door closed, we can talk. Is it not? Because infection, like that. So, in the same way, when certain devotees are a little weak in their practice of Krishna consciousness in a certain stage of life, we don't criticize or make judgments, but we see them with a compassionate heart or a prayerful heart. Okay, they're just diseased. They need some medication. That's it.
No, isn't it judgment because we already consider is faltering?
No, but what we are seeing, engagement in Krishna consciousness. Sadhureva samantabhi. Bhajate Mam Ananya Bhagavata Bharamentar, what we are seeing. And that what we are seeing to just understand whether I should associate or not. Like that. As far as curing and helping, we have to realize that do we have the strength to do that? Like somebody is, so therefore, see, judgment is what? Judgmental mentality means that we are establishing ourselves on a very high pedestal. And then we are looking at others. Hey, ye to bahut niche hai. This person is so down. This person is so down. That is judgmental mentality. So choosing for association, and that also, if you see, this is like a devotee who is not healthy in their practice, in the present practice of Krishna consciousness. Uh, then we are seeing that okay, this person has got some disease, so we can empathize with them, we can pray for them. Uh, at the same time, for now, we just make a decision whether to associate or not. That's all. So any decisions are only for the sake of choosing association. We should choose the most serious association. So judgmental means no judgmental. The basis is false ego. We think very high of ourselves and then we evaluate that. Oh, you could not practice this much also. Look at me. That's the unsaid thing. What we are saying to them. Oh, look at me. I am able to do it. You are not able to do it. That's judgmental.
And slowly compassion to others. That means I'm already establishing myself higher.
No, compassion, we are not establishing ourselves higher. We always understand that this can happen to anyone. Like any infection, no? Like KGPR devotees are getting pox, that is anybody is getting pox in the college. So somebody has got, we should, there is no point in being indignant. Tomorrow we can also get it. Then what? What is the person's fault? जय श्री भगवान की जय श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी सुलक्ष्मी महाराज श्री गोपाल की जय। So, as a preacher also we had to understand that not that I'm very great and I'm very well established and well stable and all that, and I'm doing mercy on others. No, we understand that I am as fallen and unqualified as ever, but I have got this rare gift. Let me share with others. That's it. So we have to be very, very careful. And that is why now the Lord is giving a meter. Just see whether they are engaged in devotional service or not. Right? And suppose in the present phase somebody is not, then just see that they were engaged in devotional service in the past. And then move on. So we cannot judge. Just like Mahaprabhu's Leela Devanand Pandit is giving Bhagavatam class and Shivas Thakur is in ecstasy. And people are thinking that he is, the disciples were thinking, they were seeing externally. Okay, this person is showing some, uh, symptoms or he's sleeping in the class or something like that they were seeing. So they caught him up and they threw him out of the class. Very severe. you know. So so it was a very great offense. Devanand Pandit immediately had to suffer so much. Till later, no, till he, again, not repented, lamented, cried tears, and then no, served Bhaktivinoda Pandit, and by his mercy, he got back mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again. But he was devastated. So why? Because he now Devanand Pandit did not even realize that he committed offense. See, he did not speak anything ill, or he did not show off Shivas Thakur. But his offense was what? He did not stop his disciples from doing it. So we see that is judgmental, no? That is judgmental. This happened one more time, no? Who was giving class and one Mataji was chanting, that Mataji could never stop chanting, so she was chanting in the class. So he judged them, like that. Just like that, there is a pastime also. So, but that was a severe offense. Severe offense. So judgmental is always uh, therefore the judgmental mindset is not to be like one time there was a question which was asked that okay, that this devotee had observed that okay, some senior devotees in the japa time they're dozing off. And then he was asking a question, how can senior devotees, they are very senior, they are GBC and whatever, and they're dozing off, like that. And I remember Rashikant who had given a very nice vision. He said, Arey, we don't understand, a 70 years old body, what are the nuances? We don't understand the situation. You know, so like this Kartik Yatra, I landed from US directly to Delhi. And as soon as we landed, we came to Vrindavan. So by the time we reached Govardhan, it was already 5 o'clock. You know, by the time we reached Pandal, it was already 5 o'clock. We had not gone to the accommodation also, and we just took the lunch prasad. I mean, 5 o'clock, and then the lecture started. Now, uh, now I was trying very hard to be very attentive, but I was in a very precarious predicament. You know, so I was quite sleepy. I mean that is what is called a jet lag. So I was very sleepy, and I was trying. I was punching on my legs. I was punching on my hands. I was doing all sorts of things, and so the devotee, there was one devotee sitting next to me. He got offended. He was not knowing me. Why this fellow? What kind of useless nonsense. He was sleeping. So much. Too much. Like that. So much too much was. So then. So now. Now one can very easily judge, hey, see this guy, he's become and I think he's become a big guy, so he's now in the head, so he has lost the taste for hearing and all that. All this was, I mean, not, I mean, okay, anyways, no much taste also, but at least this was very, very difficult situation for me, like that. And uh, and in general, I had seen, and this repeated the second day also. I don't know why, you know. I don't know why. So then I had to plan to extra sleep in the daytime, and I had to so that I don't sleep because now you see the body was in a different condition. I don't know. So very now weird kind of condition. So we really don't know actually. Many times, many senior devotees they had to be awake in the night because there's some temple, something has happened. They have to immediately have a meeting. This that, We saw Bhakshar Maharaj, So he came 4:30 morning program, but then no, from 1:30 to 2 o'clock he was solving some issue in South Africa, like that. So and then we say, oh, they're dozing off. So like that. So Rasikanpo said, Array, even if you chant your 16 rounds, very, very attentively without even blinking your eye, like that in full Padmasana pose, the integral of spiritual substance, what you will get is not even a drop as compared to that if these great souls, even if they chant one round, very nicely, or half a round very nicely, that will be a million times than your 16 rounds, like that. So we really cannot judge anyone because we don't know their settings. That is why here, so this is a very important principle because all the time the mind, our tendency is to go into externals, huh? Like that. Our tendency is to go into externals. And sometimes you may hear one very senior devotee speaking about another senior devotee, And I may say offensive, it will be offensive for us, for them, they are buddies. It's okay, Like Haridas Thakur is joking and with Advait Acharya, I mean, sorry, Nityanand Prabhu, they're fighting, like that. Nityanand Prabhu, Advait Acharya, Nityanand Prabhu is becoming angry. What is this? You cannot even feed properly. And Advait Acharya is saying, what is this? Bogus sannyasi, So like that, So now may say that, so what are we supposed to do? Don't take any sides. They are buddies. They can speak like that. No, they can speak like that to each other. There is no offense because they're buddies. They're friends. They've grown up together. Like that. So they can speak like that. And we cannot say, oh, why this Maharaj spoke on YouTube against this thing, that thing, They are buddies. They can speak like that. We cannot speak that way. So we need to really understand. That is why the as Mahaprabhu said, if something is beyond your digestive power, understand. Vaishnava Kriya Mudra, Vijnana Bhujai, be happy and peaceful. So Vaishnava Kriya Mudra, Vijnana Bhujai. Mahaprabhu given this principle. But okay, Vaishnavas, how they behave, what they do is very difficult to understand. Therefore, be peaceful. Just offer obeisances and continue. Like that. So it's not an unsolvable problem. If you want, we can understand things nicely. But we have to give time and energy then. Like that is what is said in all relationship disputes, even among devotees. What it is said is that now, okay, you are having a dispute. Now you say, oh no, and one is saying, no, big, lofty accusations for the other person. Now, what is the resolve for that? The resolve for that is both the fighting parties have to, come, sit down without speaking, just hear hours and hours and hours the other person. And you hear, then you'll understand, hey, I misunderstood it, and I misunderstood it, and this happened, and that happened, and all that. So sometimes some fights and all that may take 50, 100 hours to resolve it. The only way to resolve is what? Now understand the situation of the other person. Too much of fights, too much of accusations, too much of blemish, too much of blame. Now understand the situation of the other person. Hears. And hears and hears and hears and hears. And I misunderstood. That is the point. So it's not that things cannot be resolved. I mean, we cannot understand things. That is why when we get, say, affected or we get a doubt regarding some Vaishnava's behavior, better to ask very trusted devotees. Now, who can give us a proper perspective. Not take the opinion of anybody, everybody. No. Better to ask. That is why Srila Rupa Goswami had said that when it comes to association, you have to choose somebody very dedicated. But when it comes to dealings, we should be respectful to everyone. So this is a very important principle. So we will see this. Chaitanya Charitamrita also it happens. When Srila Vallabhacharya, he wrote a commentary rejecting the commentary of Sridhar Swami. Immediately Mahaprabhu chastised him. So some people make an issue of that also, Mahaprabhu chastised and all. But Mahaprabhu, he was a student now. Mahaprabhu chastising out of affection. Mahaprabhu not criticizing, he's chastising out of affection, so that he can improve. And he accepted, Vallabhacharya accepted, and he was quite upright. And but what is Mahaprabhu saying in chastisement to Vallabhacharya? He says, how can you judge? He says, no, he has written a lot of Mayavad phrases and a lot of Mayavad references and this and that. And Mahaprabhu said, yes, because his time there was the Mayavadis were all over, they were overwhelming. And he had to take sannyas, everything, in that sampradaya only. And therefore, he is presenting that context and then injecting bhakti in that context. That was his preaching strategy, and that is how he was preaching. But you cannot say his commentaries are not powerful. They are having the deepest essence of bhakti. Huh? So that's what Mahaprabhu explained. So basically, what was the explanation? That you are wrong. Why? Mahaprabhu said you have to rectify because you are not understanding his situation that time. And the mentality of people, and therefore, why he adopted the preaching strategy he adopted, like that. So therefore, we see that so we have to see the biggest problem is with our vision, and our vision is faulty because we have that ahamamiti bodily consciousness. We don't go beyond that and see.
Recent Patna controversy that Prabhu took sannyas and initiated all his followers. How we are supposed to judge that I should avoid, I should whatever. That will be judgment, not you.
Okay. Yeah, when there is some controversy, see, in management, positive, negative can happen. But it is possible, it can happen, because everybody doesn't decide and control everything. No. Even in a temple president also has limited powers. Now, the temple president is answerable to the secretary, GBC, TMC body, everything. No, board of presidents. So every single person has some limitation, and therefore sometimes what may happen is that there may be some things which may be unjust and which may have happened. Now, if one can just tolerate and move forward, that's good enough. Especially when new preaching is started, the new project is started, everybody is not so mature. They have not grown decades and decades, Uh, uh, so the devotees are themselves not fine-tuned. So then the dealings will be very rough. And likely that some bloodshed may be there. So if our blood has got shed little bit, what to do? Just tolerate. On what basis? Understanding that this is the part of growth. This is a new temple community has come up. There are going to be some bruises here there. But then over the years, the very devotees who are involved in committing mistakes, they will also grow and become mature. Then things will be refined. But if you blast it and give it up or no, explode it, then it is it's never going to. Then that is not auspicious, is it not? So therefore, do you think upheavals did not happen in the lives of proper disciples? Or full of upheavals, full of upheavals. There, though, proper disciples, their time, you see, there was no guidance available anywhere, no example available anywhere other than Prabhupada. Where was the example in ISKCON? Somebody is 6, 8 years in Krishna consciousness, he was considered as Bhishma Dev, no? I mean, the great grandsire of Bhakti, 8 years he has passed, no? Like that. Here, people don't get initiation in 8 years, no? Now, like that. So, you see that uh, so at least in front of us, we have one generation of example to see at least. All proper disciples, they have set a very nice example. And we have so many guidance avenues. Where was their avenue? No avenue. Did they continue? Yes, they did. Are they critical? No, they are not. Are they cooperating? Yes. Many of them are. No, so one should not take the wrongs which are done to a person very seriously. So mind may say so many things. So it's not that okay, something wrong has happened, then now one starts criticizing anybody and everybody. That becomes a mistake also. So that's what we see that sometimes that is why we have to understand that Rashamba always says each one of us we should always have at least one person in our lives whom we are committed that this person I will hear. Okay, we may have problem with one devotee, two devotee, but there should be at least one devotee, two devotee whom we are committed that I will hear them whatever they say. Because in problematic time, this connection will only help us. Because the people who are directly involved, we are fighting with them because we thought that they have wronged us and all that. Now there should be some person whom we at least go and hear like that. Now Acharyas have shown that they had these people, rather they were hearing anybody. Why one gentleman was not even practicing bhakti, he told Prabhupada, what is this you are producing magazines, Why don't you produce a book? A book can last for long, people will save it, magazine, newspaper, they will throw away. Prabhupada thought about it, Prabhupada took it up, Prabhupada changed himself. Prabhupada said, my guru had come through him, Is it not? So you see the kind of, so he could take it up, Prabhupada. So, but there should be one somebody should be there. Like Dhruv Maharaj, he was so angry, he was wanted to kill the entire clan of the Yakshas. But then once Swayambhu Manu came, he said, my dear son, please stop. He stopped. He said, okay, so be it. Sorry. He stopped. So he had committed that, okay, I will hear. So therefore, actually, to save ourselves, any such thing happens to, or any problem happens to us in future, or the solution is this only. That see, when we get disturbed seeing something, we should ask some very bona fide source whom we know can give a proper explanation. Who are very fixed up in devotional service. And in general, each one of us should have some devotees at least whom we should hear. Even if they speak something what is unpalatable to us, we understand that okay, this person I have to hear. This is my spiritual lifeline. At least this person I have to hear. There can be many also, but at least there should be one. And if there is no one, then we are in a very dangerous position. Nobody can help us. Or how to deal with a senior devotee who is trying to push us repeatedly. We feel we are getting forced by that devotee in our bhakti, even though we don't have the mentor-mentee relationship with that devotee. Do we need to tell them directly? Yeah. Yeah, we can take it up lightly because sometimes in a family also it happens. Some grandparents or something, they are giving some advice, and we know we cannot follow it. But they repeatedly keep telling, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. What do we do? We just take it for 1 year and take it out. That's it. So, but we understand they have good intentions, just that they don't have the proper contextual knowledge that they can give a very specific solution. So, not just accept the good intentions and take it as that spirit, no? Rather being irritated about it. No? Uh, like I remember when I was working, every time my parents would always tell me, okay, when are you giving IAM? When are you giving IAM? I said, yes, I'm giving. Yes, I'm giving. Yes, I'm giving. Yes, I'm giving. So, uh, in front of their eyes, I gave exam 3 times and failed, but I never took the form. So, how to take it? Take it up with good spirit. I mean, they have good intentions. They don't want to hurt us, like that. After I joined for 6, 8 years, they kept telling, marry, 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 marry. By the way, still there is a chance. By the way, like that they would say. So what should I respond? I did not say anything. Not that, okay, what is this nonsense going on, and no, not that, that's okay. So they are, uh, you know, uh, like mother sometimes will give very detailed advice to a son going in a hostel or something like that every time, about eating and what and how to manage and all that. Nobody follows. But do we become irritated, agitated? No, we understand. They have good intentions. Just that it's okay. No, in our context, it's difficult to apply that. No? So we take it out in that spirit. Nothing to be very fussy about. Yeah. So therefore, it's very important to uh, this verse is a very important verse. When we meditate on these principles time and again to understand that okay, am I seeing the devotees around properly or not? Is my vision proper or not? Like that. So there's no question of being judgmental. So when we see there And that is why we need to see things from the perspective of the Sarupa Lakshana. That okay, am I seeing these traits? Like that. And so, see, devotees may commit mistakes, but one should never, like it is said, one should never question the sincerity of a Vaishnava. You should never question, should always give it a benefit of doubt. Even if activities appear to be bizarre, one should never question or challenge the sincerity. The challenge of sincerity is hitting on their very existence, like that, hitting on their very existence. Like somebody has done some mistake because of which suppose there is some financial loss and all that. The management is angry. The management cannot say this devotee, you are a, you fool, you are a leech, you are just sucking the blood of proper movement and all that. No, that person also came to dedicate his life. Okay, he committed a mistake, some no, money has got lost. Not like so one should never question or challenge somebody's sincerity. No, like that. Just too blatant and unfortunate. Similarly, different devotees, different temples, they have different cultures, different views. So there's no point in judging, like that. Like say even deity worship, somebody is serving the deities very, very opulently. Another temple, another community is serving simply. Who is greater? Both are okay. Both are okay. No? No. Now how Sanatan Goswami was serving Madan Mohan, Lord Madan Mohan. Was he serving in great opulence with diamonds every day and kheer paneer every day? No, nothing. Sanatan Goswami was just mixing some water in atta and giving. And the Lord only proposed, why don't you put some salt also at least? No? I'm not demanding much. You see, I'm humble. No? So I am not. I am not Jiviral also if you desire, but at least salt you can do. We'll be very grateful if you can do at least salt. And Sanatan Goswami is saying, look at the intimacy. Sanatan Goswami is saying, hey, who will work hard to get the salt? So I don't have time. The Lord said, please do something at least. And he said, okay, if you want it, arrange for it. Then I'll give you. So the Lord only arranged some merchant, and we know that first. So, so you see the point. So I was simply serving, like that. But whereas Jaidev Goswami, for the sake of conducting a festival for his deities, he risked his life. I mean, he was just on the verge of death. But the dacoits had cheated and all that. He went so many weeks outside to earn funds, to get some funds. So yes, Jaidev Goswami risked his life and he was on the verge of death. All his money was stolen by dacoits. But how much he worked hard? Sanatan Goswami did not work that hard. How are you going to judge? So what is the standard? Opulent standard, simple standard. There are many rights in Krishna consciousness. That is the point. So there are many rights in Krishna consciousness. So somebody may be focusing on one thing, somebody may be focusing on the other thing. Krishna sees an overall absorption. Krishna is not saying, oh, this person is not feeding me most opulence. No, I'll go the other place. No, the Lord doesn't do that. The Lord sees sincerity of heart. So, this is now this is another thing. These are called as moods, and moods can never be judged. So sometimes we are tainted and painted. Like we see, okay, some temple is focusing a lot in youth preaching. Then if one is got indoctrinated in the youth preaching culture, then one may say, okay, this temple very nice. Some temple no youth preaching. One may say this temple is of no good use. You know? But we have to see things overall. These are moods. Moods, there is no right, no wrong. The moods. So therefore, better we you know, appreciate and so that is why a lot of spiritual substance is required. That is why to be able to understand and process things very nicely, we ourselves should be very strongly connected to senior devotees. And lot of one should be always having that prayer, oh Lord, let me not become critical and judgmental. Because what do we understand? We don't understand anything. Mhm. So some temple may be opulent, some temple may be simple. You know? Does it mean one is greater than the other? No. Some devotee may be opulent, some devotee may be simple. Does it mean that the one is greater than the other? No. Because sometimes certain kind of devotee may have the mindset that okay, let me no, they don't accept only material opulence. Other kind of devotees they accept material opulence. They're different. Both can advance. Is it not? No, so there is no point in judging one over the other. Judge. It is same. No, there is no special prerogative of one over the other. No, it is same. When we see in terms of dedication, we see in terms of commitment. Okay, so I think let's stop here for today. श्री रूप गोस्वामी पाद की जय, श्री उपदेशामृतम की जय, हरि बोल।